Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the show. Don't forget to subscribe to True Wives Stories and hit this episode with a thumbs up. You don't want to miss what we are about to reveal. Sister Wives viewers are already aware that Robin, Cody's fourth wife, has been his obvious favourite for a long time. This has placed immense stress on his other three wives, who have complained over the years of feeling overlooked and emotionally forsaken. Their anguish has been a core part of the narrative, and it's just heating up. On a recent tell-all show, Cody made a surprising revelation. He explained that he and Robin have a unique spiritual relationship, something he explained he never experienced with Mary, Janelle, or Christine. He even confessed that he wished his other three wives were as much like Robin as possible. This admission sent shockwaves through the family and caused feelings of rejection and betrayal to flare up again. In the same episode, all of the sister wives had one-on-one interviews with host Sukanya. When she spoke about Cody's comments to Mary and Janelle, their responses were genuine and predictable. While Mary was initially friends with Robin, she made it quite clear. She has no desire to become like her. She desires to be loved as she is, not as Cody would like her to be. If that's not sufficient for him, then it's probably best they part ways. Janelle was similarly candid. She called out Cody for portraying himself as the victim, claiming he was just blaming everyone else in order to appear innocent. In her view, if Cody had wanted the others to be different, he should have told them so. Instead, he'd ignored them, and now he's reimagining history. Meanwhile, Robin finds herself increasingly alone. Her once strong friendship with Mary has ended since Mary's divorce from Cody. Robin offered no support during that difficult time, and Mary felt abandoned and hurt. The fallout was permanent. Robin is now isolated, while Mary has found support in new friendships, including one with Jen. Cody didn't defend Mary when she needed him, and neither did Robin. Conversely, Janelle and Christine have maintained unconditional support of one another. Robin now finds it challenging to form deep connections with the rest of the family. Her bonds have deteriorated, and the emotional gap is wider. Cody's blatant favoritism didn't hurt his marriages alone. It distanced Robin from the very individuals she used to refer to as family. It doesn't stop with the wives, though. The next generation is now emerging. With Christine having decided to move out of Cody, the dynamics of the family have changed completely. Most of the children, who did not speak up before, are now expressing themselves about how they actually feel. Some have even started apologizing for how Robin's children were being treated. Leon, Mary's child, and Madison, daughter of Janelle and Cody, recently expressed regret over how things unfolded. For years, Robin's children, especially Aurora and Brianna, felt isolated and excluded from the larger Brown family. They were told by some of their siblings that they weren't considered real family members. These comments left lasting emotional scars. Things got worse during the pandemic. Robin's household had strict rules, and even minor things, such as opening the refrigerator, could lead to scolding. Most of the other children claimed they did not feel comfortable and accepted in Robin's house, but Cody spent almost all his time there. It was apparent to everyone that Robin and her kids were his #1 priority, and that further intensified the already present gap. These decisions created tremendous divides within the family, but Leon and Madison now wish to do the right thing. They've come forward to recognize the hurt inflicted and to issue genuine apologies to Robin's kids. While apologies can't erase what's been done, they could be the start of a badly needed healing process. So what's in store for the Brown family? Are these relationships fixable after years of favoritism, silence, and pain? And will Cody ever own up to the role he played? Let us know what you think. We're looking forward to hearing your feedback, and there's so much more to reveal from the world of Sister Wives. Until next time, thanks for watching. On a recent episode of Sister Wives, two of the Brown family members shared in a moment of unusual emotional candor. Leon and Madison both confessed they had felt disconnected from Robin and her kids over the years. But now they're willing to change course. They both shared a genuine desire to reconcile if offered the opportunity. This was a turning point, particularly for Leon, who had only just returned to public view, having come out as transgender and adopting they, them pronouns. It had been some time since the siblings had had a sincere, on-camera discussion. For Madison, the encounter was laced with sadness. She indicated that she felt deeply saddened by how events had transpired regarding Robin's children, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna. As most viewers are aware, Robin's children have repeatedly indicated that they have felt like outsiders in their own household. Madison indicated that if she had ever hurt them, she would be the first to say sorry. The discussion occurred in the aftermath of a somber event, the memorial service for Garrison Brown. With the emotional haze, the bulk of the family came together at a rented house to comfort each other. Robin's children, however, were conspicuously missing, a silence that spoke volumes about the continued rift in the family. The moment, which was captured last year, expressed just how broken things had become. Whereas fans still have no idea where things currently stand, there is hope that the kids will ultimately get together for a real and honest dialogue. But even as the kids try to mend, the wounds among adults remain deep. During a recent TV interview that provoked heated responses from fans and former family members both, Cody made another eyebrow-raising statement. He claimed his bond with Robin wasn't merely strong, it was divinely anointed, something he called sacred, and more than anything he shared with his other wives. Die-hard viewers might not have been surprised, but for the women who once stood by him, the comment hurt. For years, Mary, Janelle and Christine had all been through the rough stuff of plural marriage, navigating love, parenting and compromise in a single family unit. When Robin came into the fold, they welcomed her in good faith, but what they hadn't anticipated was being gradually edged out of the life they'd helped create. What was supposed to be a reunion special, a time of introspection, soon turned into a stage for personal confessions and emotional distress. During his solo with the host, Cody even uttered that he had always wished his other wives to follow Robin's attitude and actions. It was something that left everyone stunned. One of the first wives, admired for her strength and quiet resilience, reacted in dignity. She was firm. She never wished to be another person. Herself, she asserted, was her own, and to require her to be otherwise would act contrary to the very essence of what plural marriage was to stand for. Polygamy, she told viewers, was not about stifling individuality, but about embracing it. Another ex-wife, who was herself sharp-tongued and independent, wasn't behind in her response. She declared Cody's words not only unkind, but also inaccurate. She criticized him for doctoring history to make himself look good and complained he had lost sight of the equilibrium plural marriage demands. His efforts to elevate one wife over the others, she said, had irreparably hurt the trust and harmony they once enjoyed. Adding to the emotional intensity of the situation was the breakdown of intimate friendships within the family. Mary and Robin, who were once confidants, have now gone totally quiet. Their relationship disintegrated when Mary took the tough decision to legally end her marriage to Cody. In that moment of need, Robin didn't call, and the damage was done. Today, Robin is more alone than she has ever been. Closeness with the sister wives once in place is lost. She is left with Cody, whose evident favoritism has created a chasm not only between himself and his wives, but between him and several of his children. The once flourishing web of family relationship has become tattered, with many members opting for distance, healing, and autonomy. In spite of all this, there is one theme that comes through across the series. The women aren't going to bend themselves into who they used to be to suit Cody's needs. They've compromised, they've survived, but they will no longer sacrifice their own identity for a man who swore once to give equal love to everyone. Mary stated it simply, if she can't be accepted as who she really is, then there is no use in staying. Janelle shared the sentiment, chuckling at the notion that some level of effort might have made them equal in Cody's book. Her tone had the weight of lived experience, a quiet truth long suspected by fans. She insisted that authentic love doesn't call for replication. Both wives brought something special and precious to the union. None of them should have had to emulate someone else in order to be lovable. The emotional aftershocks of these discoveries didn't remain in the family, though. They extended far past that, into the hearts of fans. Social media rang out with sympathy for the women who had suffered so much, applauding their strength, authenticity, and resilience. While many disparaged the patriarch's continued favoritism, most were in admiration for the women finally finding their own truth. But with the support, there was also some bitter irony that fans could not overlook. The youngest wife, who was once regarded as the chosen one, is now left alone. Her proximity to the man at the epicenter of it all might have been temporary golden favor, but ultimately left her alone in a house filled with shattered promises. What remains is a broken family. A common past no longer assures a common future. And as the initial wives press on, they're doing it with clarity, claiming their own identity, building new connections, and defining themselves independent of Cody's pull. The patriarch, on the other hand, holds on for dear life to his vision of divine vindication. Perhaps it's his method of finding meaning amidst all the chaos surrounding him. But one thing is certain, this story has shifted. What started off as a courageous experiment in plural love has turned into something else. It's a story now about deconstruction, about how faith systems crumble, about how friendships fall apart, and about how, in its aftermath, staying true to yourself is the most rebellious act of all. The most complicated character in this unfolding is Robin. Once the privileged wife, she is now alone. Her previous sister wives have departed, and the husband she stood with is becoming more bitter and resentful. The connections she once relied on for comfort and friendship have been cut off. Whether she desires reconciliation or persists down this road of isolation is still to be seen. The tell-all special didn't merely revisit past hurts, it reflected back on everybody involved. Some members pressed into their own reflection honestly, others maybe only reflected on what they wanted to see. But observers, always observing, saw the painful reality. What was hailed as togetherness was, in actuality, selective love masquerading as devotion. There has been a radical shift in the dynamics of the Brown family over the years. What started as a harmonious household has gradually disintegrated into a maze of miscommunication, emotional loneliness, and changing allegiances. The exit of one of the pioneer wives triggered a domino effect, not only for the adults, but also for the children. The households that had previously flourished on the basis of collective rituals and shared duties began to crumble. As soon as the spiritual bond between Cody and one of his longtime wives was legally broken, those cracks widened. Her walkaway made others, wives and children alike, take stock of what they'd suffered and what they wanted. 2 grown children have since stepped forward, both from different lines of the family. One is the daughter of a no-nonsense, self-reliant mum, the other a transgender and non-binary child, born to a woman who was known for keeping emotions in check. These 2, who were playmates on family outings, now are opting for courage in adulthood, breaking long-standing patterns, opting for healing, and speaking their truth. But their bond with step-siblings, particularly those connected to the family's 4th and most divisive wife, has not fared so well. Although she joined the family later, Robin quickly became the emotional hub, even though she had promised early on that there would be harmony. Eventually, her children came to experience the sting of omission, remembering times when they were treated as strangers. Sometimes it was the cold shoulder, sometimes it was no messages at all, or traditions made fun of instead of shared. The international pandemic simply increased these gaps. Some of the children from the earlier marriages shunned Robin's home, seeing it as uptight and judgmental. Robin's kids, meanwhile, took that distance personally, reading it, and if her step-siblings, the children of the most often pilloried wife, had ever taken it personally or felt shut out by something she did or said, she wanted them to understand it was not her intention. Her cousin said something similar. Someone who was once famous for being his jocular self and introspective, now living a quieter, more contemplative life. That cousin, who identifies outside the gender binary now, has been a quiet well of bravery in the family. Many have been inspired by their path to authenticity, and yet even they spoke of carrying regret. They too wanted to mend burnt bridges, particularly with those who might have felt othered in a home that was meant for all. The two of them, once close cousins, now reunited in a profoundly altered emotional backdrop, found themselves talking openly in a quiet living room following a mournful family memorial. It was for a loved brother, and though the house was briefly full again, the empty chairs of some family members weighed heavily. Laughter and stories interrupted briefly in the room, but so did the unspoken burden of what was lost: trust, relationship, and the type of love that is promised and too frequently given up on in divided-up families. In that raw, open space, the two decided to speak from the heart. They didn't anticipate forgiveness right away, or even a response. Their words weren't prepared. They were spoken from a place of great introspection and pure intention to own the hurt their actions, or maybe even their silence, might have inflicted. They knew that their concept of family had been influenced by the adults in their lives, and now, as adults, they were only just beginning to see the bigger picture. They acknowledged that tension between their parents might have had an impact on how they treated their step-siblings. Frequently, when parents take sides, children do too, sometimes out of loyalty, but often out of inherited emotional baggage. Now they were ready to release that burden. They expressed a desire to reach out, not with expectations of a return to childhood bonds, but with the hope of starting sincere conversations. A beginning, a message, even unspoken, that said, "Even if we didn't show it, you mattered." It's hard to exaggerate the significance of this moment. For a family in an emotional erosion cycle, this conversation could be a pivotal moment, not only for the two who engaged, but for everybody observing, within the family and outside it. Their ability to acknowledge blame, to authenticate others' suffering, and to greet painful truths with compassion might provide a way forward, a manner of healing, not by reshaping the past, but by taking it as our own. And while cameras subtly recorded the nuance of the moment, watery eyes, understanding nods, silences that spoke volumes more than words ever would, the audience was reminded of something very important. Real growth never occurs in the light. It occurs in silent rooms, in whispers, in courageous silences, heavy with meaning. In moments when hearts opt for understanding rather than defense. Even though no one is yet prepared to speak, even though a few are quiet, the words spoken that day are important. Whether they create reunion or merely bring a long-awaited ending, they're a step towards something better. And perhaps, just perhaps, that's enough. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for further updates as this saga continues to unfold.